There are so many times when self-control just isn't possible. And today's angry celebrities caught on live TV prove it. Welcome to Wow Celebs. You think celebs are those who can hold any pressure and only you get rage moments? Not really. They are just like us, and sometimes act even more aggressive than everyday people. Today, we are going to discuss the best angry celebrity moments. Make sure you watch till the end. You won't believe what Iron Mike was capable of in his beast mode. Ben Affleck in angry discussion. The famous flip happened in 2014. Ben Affleck arrived on the talk show Real Time with Bill Maher, alongside author and podcast host Sam Harris, and it didn't take too long for the fireworks to really get going. The discussion veers towards the subjects of radical Islam and Islamophobia, and battle lines are quickly drawn. Maher claims that Islam is the only religion that acts like the mafia, and Harris says that Islam is the motherlode of bad ideas.
Any religion that acts like the mafia that will fucking kill you.
But Islam
But why
when is the motherlode of bad ideas?
Jesus.
So we have
That's just a fact.
The Oscar winner then explodes on the two men, calling their declarations gross, racist, and ugly things to say. All this while resting back in his chair in disappointment and muttering, "Jesus Christ," under his breath. So, suffice to say, he disagreed with their opinion. Kelly versus Gayle King. Even though this interview wasn't aired live, it was presented precisely as filmed. R. Kelly has long been the subject of numerous sexual assault allegations. In March of 2019, Kelly appeared on CBS This Morning with Gayle King to discuss the claims and recent documentary Surviving R. Kelly. Kelly grew increasingly emotional and frustrated as the interview progressed, culminating in him screaming right into the camera. He then stood up and continued to shout, pounding on his chest. It didn't end there even, as the tirade continued for almost another minute.
I didn't do this stuff. This is not me. I'm fighting for my life. I gave out 30 years of my career.
Robert.
30 years of my career.
Rod and Cooper bullshit. In late February 2020, sentenced Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich appeared on CNN to talk with Anderson Cooper. Blagojevich was serving 14 years in prison for soliciting bribes, a sentence later commuted by President Donald Trump on February 18th of 2020. Blagojevich is playing up his prison time, referring to himself as a political prisoner and comparing himself to Nelson Mandela.
I bet you if you were to ask Nelson Mandela whether he thought the process was fair back in the early 60s in South Africa.
The idea that you are comparing yourself to somebody who has actually been railroaded.
Cooper rightfully calls the association offensive. But that's not all. As the interview goes on, Cooper frequently grows resentful and impatient with Blagojevich's statements, and he finally refers to his alternative universe of facts as bullshit. This isn't even the first time Cooper has spoken his mind. Back on Anderson Live, he called the alleged human Barbie a dreadful person and cut the interview short. Jim Ryan versus Dick Oliver. This legendary argument took place on July 19th, 2001. Good Day New York anchorman Jim Ryan is watching a report from Dick Oliver on a landlord-tenant dispute. It's pretty standard, everyday stuff. Until it isn't. After Oliver lets his tenant interviewee leave, Ryan chastises him for the quality of his reporting. This results in a bitter and very awkward back and forth on live television. You can even see the tenant cringing and suppressing a laugh in the background. This incident would become so infamous that it inspired Bill Hader's Herb Welch character on Saturday Night Live. Hader portraying an elderly reporter as combative as he is incompetent.
Well, if I have to teach you how to be a reporter, Ollie, I'll do that later.
Why don't you do that later, Jim? I think the lady expressed herself.
Anchor Untethered. In 2009, Drew Smith, a news host for SNN News 6 in Sarasota, Florida, had very little patience for poorly worded transcripts. After struggling to get through a story, Smith sighs in frustration and hangs his head in shame. After a brief pause, Smith brandishes his copy of the script and asks,
Who writes this stuff?
God, it's amazing. Are you guys lost like I am?
Then asks either the crew or the viewers at home if they are as confused as he is. Before continuing on, Smith seemingly answers his earlier question by stating,
Some intern at NBC News Channel writes this crap.
defectively worded news is confusing for anyone, and quality control is essential. Danny Dyer versus David Cameron. English actor Danny Dyer is often typecast as the tough guy in movies and TV shows. Now we know why. While appearing on Good Evening Britain, Dyer began passionately discussing prior UK Prime Minister David Cameron and Brexit issues. His rant included several profanities and various colorful names for David Cameron, like geezer or twat. His passionate comments garnered some chuckles, while then opposition leader Jeremy Corbyn managed to keep a straight face. When he was done, he sat back in his chair, crossed his arms, and shook his head in disappointment. So, he's not a fan of David Cameron then?
What it is, right? So what's happened to that David Cameron who called it on? Let's be fair.
I think you're referring to our former Prime Minister.
Sam calls for silence. Hey, many of us get flustered and frustrated while cooking. Fortunately, our freakouts aren't caught on live television. While appearing on Today with Kathy Lee Gifford and Hoda Kotb, Sam the cooking guy grew tired of the host's constant interjections and firmly told them to pipe down. Sam realized his mistake when his outburst was met with a painfully awkward silence, and he tried alleviating the awkwardness with some smiles and jokes. Unfortunately, that was an error he simply couldn't fix. The rest of the segment proceeded rather coldly, with Gifford seeming incredibly defensive. Let me talk, Carol. The next anger unmanagement concerns Chad Myers, the severe weather expert for CNN. While discussing Hurricane Katrina, anchor Carol Costello interrupts Myers and asks him to clarify the complex and technical terminology he uses. Myers proceeds to yell, "Let me talk, Carol," and throws his papers on the ground in frustration.
Let me talk, Carol.
Translate that for us. I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
Well, if you would let me talk.
Costello and Myers both laugh the incident off, and Myers states that he was just having fun with Costello. It seems evident that they do this simply to diffuse the palpable tension because Myers was obviously not having fun. He was stressed the heck out. Mahar versus conspiracy theorists. Live audiences are typically well behaved, but sometimes you get the odd clown who just wants to make noise. While Bill Maher talked with U.S. Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, conspiracy theorists started yelling loudly from the audience. At first, Lee and Maher simply looked at them in amusement and cracked some jokes on their behalf. But then they kept going. This prompted Maher to stand up, colorfully inquire about the security, and personally run over to the conspiracy theorists to kick them out himself. This was met with loud cheers from the studio audience, so we think they were just as fed up with the troublemakers.
Yeah. Like I even, you know, boy, sometimes here at CBS, I do get the fuck out of my building. Hey, ouch.
Charlo Green quits live. This rant by Alaska's KTVA anchor Charlo Green went viral. After reporting on the Alaska Cannabis Club, Green revealed that she was the owner of the Cannabis Club and quit on live TV. Her resignation involved a lengthy speech, a well-timed F-bomb, and a dramatic walk off camera. This left the other KTVA anchor stunned and literally speechless as she tried to recover from Green's colorful on-air resignation. The clip subsequently went viral, and Green found herself a bit of a champion within the marijuana industry. Unfortunately, her club was raided by police in 2016, and Green was slapped with a felony conviction and a $10,000 fine. Burning with frustration. This is a hot one. Okay, not literally, but there is a fire involved. Mika Brzezinski is the co-host of MSNBC's Morning Joe, a weekly political talk show. Back in 2007, Brzezinski grew frustrated with the constant coverage of Paris Hilton. She attempts to set her new documents on fire, saying, "I'm done with the Paris Hilton story." When her co-anchor takes the lighter away, Brzezinski gets up and throws the papers into a nearby paper shredder. When reflecting on the moment for a 10th anniversary special, co-anchor Willie Geist called it a symbolic moment for the show. In that, Brzezinski was refusing to air and discuss such trivial matters of celebrities. Mike Tyson blows up. Mike is famously known for being a madman. In 1992, Mike Tyson was sentenced to 6 years in prison for the rape of 18-year-old Desiree Washington. This topic appeared years later, in 2014, when Tyson was participating in Toronto CP24 News Channel on a promotional tour after facing the city's then mayor Rob Ford. News anchor Nathan Downer suggests the idea that the mayoral meeting could have meddled with Ford's election race, as Tyson is a sentenced rapist. And Tyson is not happy. He initially responds in a professedly controlled manner, only to utterly and profanely lose his composure multiple times, eventually calling Downer a rat piece of shit. Downer reminds Tyson that they were on live TV, but he doesn't seem to care at all. So, what do you think? Who should visit a doctor for nerve treatment? Who got totally burned out? Maybe we have missed some moments. Leave your opinion in the comments below. If you haven't already hit the like button, do it now. Likes help grow the channel. And don't forget to subscribe. Now, hit the notification bell to receive more video content. We selected a few videos that we think you would like. Just click to the left or right. We hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you for being at Wow Celebs, and see you in our next